Communication is easy because you've been doing it for virtually your entire life. Besides, communication is simply conveying information. But that feeling of connecting with people, that can be a bit more challenging for most of us, even though it is something that feels like we should naturally do and that most of us truly want. And so the question is, why is it so difficult to connect with people? And how can we overcome those difficulties? Because if we were able to overcome the difficulties of connecting with people, lives would be happier. Can you imagine going to work with people that you actually enjoy working with and you feel that connection with them? And how much more you guys would accomplish if you guys actually like each other and work together well. If you felt connected with your boss, would you cringe when your boss comes by, fearing that you're going to be in trouble or could be in trouble? Or if you are a boss or a manager, can you imagine when you walk to your staff, they don't cringe and they're more productive? If you're in sales, how many more sales will you close when your client feels that connection with you? Connection is what we all want, and we can do this through communication. But the reason why it's so difficult for some people is because we have lived life in a way where we have experienced the pain of shame and judgment from others. For example, your boss could walk in and tell you all the things that you do wrong, or people make judgment statements of what you did right and wrong, what you did that's good or bad, and that permeates a lot of the conversations. And we experience that pain of what it feels like, and all of a sudden, we make these barriers to protect ourselves against that emotional pain of shame and judgment from others, usually in the form of their language and how they communicate to us. This is why it can be so difficult to feel connected with people. So, how can we overcome this barrier so we can get what we want, which is a connection with people that will make our work lives happier, make us more productive, increase your sales, and have better relationships with others? And I can't think of a better way right now to explain what it means to connect with people and the power and the impact and how to do that than with an experience that I had the pleasure of having with a woman named Kara. Now, this goes back in my fitness training days. I was able to coach over 6,000 classes, learning how to connect with people in my classes because when I first started, I didn't have 6,000 classes. I was brand new, and learning how to connect with people was the only way I knew how to be effective. But I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. But fortunately for me, a woman named Kara would come to class every day. And some things you need to know about Kara is she's very tenacious. She loves to push her limits and challenge herself. And she could hardly ever be outworked. She was almost always the hardest worker in the room, except for one day. And on this one particular day, Kara came to my class and she looked sad. I've never seen this on her before. And I already started to make some assumptions why she might be sad. Either she's not feeling well. I was like, maybe Kara had a bad day, but I wasn't sure. As she came to my class and began to work out, as the class progressed, her energy and her effort got less and less. Not the normal, tenacious Kara. And so, even though I had these assumptions, I didn't want to lead with an assumption when I had a conversation with her. I walked up to her and instead I asked, Kara, what's wrong? And this is what Kara said. She said, Rico, I'm not feeling well. I had a bad day. I thought working out would help me feel better, but now I feel worse. And I'm very frustrated that I can't perform to the way that I'm used to. Hmm. Well, now what do I say to her? What do I say? It's an opportunity to connect. What would you say to Kara in that moment? Most people would say something to the effect of, Kara, you shouldn't feel that way. Or, Kara, don't feel bad. But if I did that, and it just would have communicated that how she was feeling was wrong. And I would have conveyed a message of judgment of her being wrong for feeling the way she feels. Didn't want to do that. What I told her instead was, Kara, every day you show up and you work hard and you give your best every day, but you may not have your best performance every day. So if for now, you just getting through the workout is the best you can do because you've had legit reasons of having a bad day and maybe not feeling well, then this is the best you can do for today. I am very proud of that. I hope you can be too. And with that, she nodded her head. She finished her workout and then she left. I would not know the impact of those words for a whole nother year. 1 year later, I got a promotion and my staff threw a surprise congratulations party. And the staff came and they invited members. Kara was one of those members. And during that moment at the party, she pulls me aside and she says, Rico, do you remember the conversation we had a year ago? I said, yes, I do. And she says, do you remember what you said to me? And I said, yes, I do. And she says, Rico, you have no idea the impact that those words had on me. And then she followed up that statement with the secret of what it means to connect with people and the impact that it has. Listen carefully to what she says. Kara said, Rico, before you came to this studio, nobody even knew my name, even though I had been coming for some time. You were the first person to ask and get to know my name. And you were the first person to really pay attention to how I worked out. And even on my worst day, you were paying attention and you helped me feel better. And you need to know, Rico, that I work out harder in your class than I do in anybody else's because of these things. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. We, as a group of members, we talk and we all feel this way. And this is why you deserve this promotion. When she said those words, it really hit me in some kind of way. It's hard to express to you how it made me feel, but it made me feel very good. And it made me want to be a better coach. With that, she maybe unintentionally, did unknowingly, gave the secret of what it means to connect and the impact that it has. Did you hear it? I'm going to paraphrase what she said. Kara said, Rico, you were the first person to make me feel seen and heard and validated. And because I felt seen, heard, and validated, not just on my best days, but even on my worst days, I work out harder in your class than anybody else. And she felt connected with me. When she told me these words, I also felt seen, heard, and validated. And I became connected with her and we became friends. And I was always a better coach when people like Kara were in my class. And people worked harder in my class when I can make them feel seen, heard, and validated. And that's what it means to connect with somebody. If you really want to connect with somebody, so where they're happy in your presence and they're more productive than they would be without it, the key is that when we communicate, we want to have the goal to make the other person feel seen, heard, and validated. Then they will connect with you. They will trust you. Your influence will be much more than it was before. And everybody's happier and more productive. How do we do that? How do we create that connection? Because we still have these barriers, and so do they, to protect against shame and judgment and the pain thereof. How do we connect with people despite these barriers? After reading over 26 books over communication and psychology and sales, and practicing what I have learned from these books in the 6,000 group classes that I was able to have and experience, what I have learned is that every single tactic and has boiled down to a combination of one or more of these three things.